Is the PlayStation 2 still playable in 2024? Well, let's break that down in today's video. First up, if you are not keen on shelling out big bucks for the brand new PlayStation 2 consoles that you see on eBay and stuff, you've got some options. Ever heard of PCSX2, which is an emulator for your PC that lets you play classic PlayStation 2 titles? Sounds pretty cool, which it is. You can really do that and enjoy a lot of time. Even if you have a decent console or a decent laptop, it doesn't have to be a very spec'd out personal computer that you have, and you can still have a lot of fun with these classic PlayStation 2 titles. But hey, if you're lucky enough to stumble upon one of these rare backward compatible PlayStation 3 fat models, well, you're definitely in luck. If you have like the CECH A01 model, I believe it was, that I also purchased. If you want to check out that video, a link to it will be on the iCard or down below in the description. And essentially with this console, you can play hardware backwards compatible almost 99 or 95, I'd say, percent of the PlayStation 2 games on your PlayStation 3 console, which means you can have a lot more fun with that. But fair warning, but the PlayStation 3, this fat model in specific, is very unreliable. So you got to do a lot of R&D. You might have to do a lot of modifications to the motherboard itself, solder, and do a lot of technical work to keep it a more future-proof console. So you got to bear that in mind. Alongside this, the price of these models are very expensive. They can range between 300 to 500 US dollars, depending on how you find it in which condition. So you need to take that into account if you want to actually play these PlayStation 2 games. Now let's talk about the Slim, the PS2 Slim consoles and also the Super Slim consoles, which are also available in most regions. Now these are very common to pick up. You can find them all over the place, and they're a little bit more reliable than the original PlayStation 2 fat model. I know a lot of people do like the fat model PlayStation 2 with the blue stands, but the PlayStation 2 Slim and the Super Slim are great alternatives for you if you want a longer lasting console. Not only are they more new, but if you incorporate like a HDMI adapter to these PlayStation 2 consoles, you can have a lot of great fun with them. Alongside of this, if you get some third-party USB controllers that are wireless for your PlayStation 2 and make it a dongle bundle, you can have a lot more fun with these consoles aside from those wired original PlayStation 2 controllers that not a lot of people like due to their mushy buttons and sticks. Now, the only downside to this are the scratched discs. You can purchase a pre-owned PlayStation 2 physical media disc right off of like Craigslist or eBay, and you might not be guaranteed to get a pristine disc unless, of course, you buy a brand new sealed variant of this PlayStation 2 game that you're looking for, right? So these days it's also very tricky to find PlayStation 2 games on the market because mainly a lot of like video game stores and video game collectors buy out all of the decent condition ones and leave all of the garbage that is left on online and maybe even in your nearby stores or small game shops. So it's pretty difficult to find a lot of very good condition PlayStation 2 discs, and you'll have to like maybe resurface these discs to get them back into decent condition or at least playable condition for the favorite titles such as like San Andreas, for example. These games have been sold in very large volumes, so there's still probably a lot out there. But for the niche games that remind you of your childhood, you might not be able to find it very easily, that is, at least in person, but definitely online. Of a PlayStation 2 console, make sure that it's at least soft modded, or if not, even better, hard modded. Now, the reason why I say this is you can actually play, backup discs or backup media from a hard drive or a USB on your PlayStation 2 if you use this method, making it much more easier to get games from online and play them on your PlayStation 2 console and have a lot more fun with that. Not only does it not require you to purchase these physical media, these games, these discs that might not actually work for your console, because you also need to remember that the PlayStation 2 has some rules. It is a region locked console, meaning if you purchased a PAL or a PAL PlayStation 2 model, which is available to players in Europe and Asia. Now, what that will do is that if you have a PAL variant console and, for example, you purchase a North American copy of, let's say, WWE SmackDown vs. Raw, and you try putting it into your PAL console, it will not work. There's going to be a geo restriction from the NTSC versus the PAL model. That's just how it is, and you'll need to purchase a PAL to NTSC converter, and it's a long hustle, and it will take you a long time to go ahead and convert your PlayStation 2 console, and I don't think you want to endure that headache. So you need to keep these things in mind and make sure that if you purchase a PlayStation 2, I would definitely recommend personally to soft mod it at least, or hard mod it from a hard drive solder modification that you can go ahead and input onto your PlayStation 2 and make it a much more better experience for yourself. So in conclusion, if you're willing to put a little bit of effort to actually play and enjoy the PlayStation 2, this can be an absolute blast. Honestly, the library of the PS2 is one of the best in the world, even in 2024. Years after its launch. I believe it was originally released back in like 1999 or 2000, and even like 25 years later, it is still a lot of fun to play these games and have an absolute blast with the original hardware. So hopefully if that should answer your question on whether it is worth buying or even playing on a PlayStation 2 in 2024. Now it's been your boy Optage, and I'll be catching you guys all in my next video. Goodbye.